interest in anything? No.
This was our worst segment ever, Dave.
I don't even remember what we talked about.
Exactly. So you flushed it. You flushed
I don't remember anything though. So
their worst segment ever.
come on, you can't do that. If you guys do that to me, then I may quit. If I
Do
can't
what to
be
you?
so-conscious.
Yeah.
What? I can't
Listen,
be told.
Omar knows it. First of all, Omar said to me afterwards, he goes, "Boy, that did not go well." Or you said something to that effect. Omar.
Yeah, Dave, come on.
He knew it right
listen,
away.
Don't yell at me for defending you.
No, but I do think that no, listen, we all have different volatility and different sort of alpha in our stories or whatever, but we all work very well all together, and those are going to happen. Like there's more volatility in my stories probably. Like
it is. But
so,
one of the things that I look at when I write down my topics is I go, okay, does this have any legs whatsoever? And will there be potential disagreements? And what can I make funny out of this?
Yeah, but it's not. But you know what I was right. Like I thought, like my topic last week, there would be more like.
Yeah, but it's so. It was
maybe my intro was so bad it like basically took all the energy out of the room. Maybe that was what it was. But
No,
anyway, they all can't be winners, and as long as we're enjoying it,
I think
That's
it's
true.
all our fault.
That's
I
true.
think if we can't pull out the funny and even the most mundane, I feel like that is a strength of ours, and that's
Well, we did actually. We pulled a little bit of funny at the end when we talked about how bad that topic was.
yeah,
So
yeah,
we did.
and, you know,
we
and
pulled
David,
out a little
you know,
bit.
I'm not gonna like whatever, but I will say that usually you guys are better at extracting value out of topics I bring up than you were last week.
What a cop out!
Yeah, see, I knew we'd eventually have to apologize for
Yes,
it.
it's our fault. It's our fault for his shitty topic.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the FTS podcast, Friends Talking Shop. I am your host, Dave, and looking forward to another episode. Episode number
36, I believe.
36.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Or 37. I can't remember now. 37. 37.
Wait, is that more age appropriate for me? Like, what's the appropriate age girl if I was dating? We're
getting
the
closer.
range?
52.
Really?
52.
Yeah, some of that can share experiences with your childhood. You know,
Yeah.
That's overrated. I have you guys for that stuff.
Probably
Yeah,
someone who knows who AC Slater is.
I don't want to talk to somebody about the Jeffersons. Okay.
Why, the Jeffersons was a great show.
I have no interest.
Do you
You
want to
should.
date someone who grew up watching SpongeBob? Like, can
Yeah.
you relate
Is that
to
what you
someone that
want?
could do that? Or
Perhaps.
do you want
Yeah.
like
If
Scooby-Doo?
you know what? If they have an old soul,
Yeah,
old souls are
An old
underrated.
soul.
yeah. So is
No
SpongeBob,
such
by the way.
thing.
I do enjoy. I had to watch it with my kids, which now I'm more disturbed now that I put that two together. I don't want you dating someone
Yeah,
my
that's
daughter's
right,
age.
right.
That's not right. All right. Anyway, this is FTS Friends Talking Shop. I'm your host Dave, and I'm sitting here in St. Louis, in very cold St. Louis. It's cold where you all are. I guess it's probably not where you are, Omar.
It's cold in Philly. Cold in
Yeah.
Philly.
No, it's not cold here. It's 75.
Oh,
Nice.
it's super neat. Great. Well, I'm here with my two hosts as usual. Let me introduce to you my host, Omar. Omar, how are you doing today? Oh,
Yeah,
he just
yeah,
walked
what?
away. Yeah.
He walked
I'm
away.
Great. I'm great. It was too cold in here. You reminded me of the temperature, so I'm doing great. I'm very happy.
Unbelievable.
I'm Johnny Cash today, if you guys can't tell.
Yeah.
So I'm
The
wearing all black.
Pakistani Johnny Cash?
I'm wearing all black. Yes. Yes. Thank you for
You have
getting
quite
that
a
right,
few
by the way.
personalities. Yeah.
Yes.
Josh would historically say Indian, and it always triggered me.
No, I
So
know
he's-
you
he's
said India
adjusted.
several times, and I have to remind you what your heritage is.
My dad told me when I was growing up in this country, he's like, when people ask you where you're from, don't tell them Pakistan. Tell them
Right.
India. They
That's
don't
what you
care
told
about
me.
Pakistan here.
Yeah.
So this is why, that's why probably I did that.
Yeah.
That's funny.
I get it.
So Omar, you're doing good. You're in Puerto Rico, and you're cold, but it's probably much better down there than it is here.
It is it's great here, and I've been recently doing something with Miles I've never done before. It involves peanut butter, and I'm kidding, but
Oh,
I
gonna say, where's this going?
Yeah.
no, I'm walking him because I have a park across the street from my house, and historically I would just go to the park and I'd carry him across and he'd run around and do his thing and whatever, and I come back, and now I put him on leash and I walk around the neighborhood. I've never walked around leash. People do that. They like walk their dogs on leash.
Yeah.
I never
Yeah.
understood it. You
Yeah,
know,
that's a thing. That's a thing.
I thought it was
Did you
because
use
of
your?
necessity. That's part of it, but it's also because it's nice to go for a walk with your dog.
Yeah.
I've never done this
Yes.
before. It's a foreign concept to me.
You've owned a dog for how long?
16, 20 years.
And you've never known. You never looked around and see people walking their dogs on a leash and go, what's that all about?
Yeah, I thought
Yeah,
you
I
used your
never.
USB cord for your leash.
Yeah.
Isn't that?
That's when I got to go to like Best Buy or something.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's an emergency.
That's my walking around.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Anyway,
great. Well, I'm
I'm
glad
good.
you're doing well. And our third co-host who's here, who's probably the happiest among us, given that his football team is the number one
Correct.
seed in NFC, is Josh. Josh, how are you doing? How are you going to handle this weekend?
This weekend is a joy because my team doesn't play. It's just a matter of sitting back and watching to see who my opponent is. But it's nice. It's nice to be in this position. So
Yeah.
we'll see what happens come next week or who we play. But I fear nobody in the NFC. So we'll see. But speaking of cold, Dave, and speaking of football, I wanted to see if you guys picked this up. Watching football the last couple of weeks, they've had frigid temperatures in some of these locales. Like even in Green Bay, it was actually kind of warm, but I think it was still in the 20s last week or whatever.
Yeah, I think
for that
No,
Detroit
it was
game?
cold for the last game. No, it was a
Yeah.
good 20s, teens to
But-
20s.
Do you notice every single player, almost every single player, comes out sleeveless? Sleeveless.
A lot
None-
too.
They don't wear, and it's the stupidest thing I've ever. And they're cold, and it's a macho thing.
Yeah.
I'm a man, and so I'm not going to wear sleeves, and I'm tough, and we get it. You play football.
Wait,
we
so
we
how
get
many
it. You're
how
tough.
many guys are wearing sleeves nowadays? You're saying none of them do?
So what? No, not none. So like Rodgers wore sleeves, but he, whatever. He doesn't give a shit, and he's a veteran, and he's
Did Tom Brady wear sleeves?
I'm sure he did.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure he did.
I think the quarterbacks do.
Not all quarterbacks. I noticed that too. But I would say for example, that Detroit Green Bay game, I'm going to venture a guess that 90% of the players did not wear sleeves. And that ground must be like falling on cement.
No, Green Bay's grass. I have a good friend who seems to be a grass expert.
Okay.
we
Well,
have
Omar's a grass expert. Maybe he can tell us.
That's right.
Different kind of grass.
Yeah.
It's like they have
That's a good
grass master
reminder.
3000. They're somehow able to grow that grass up in frigid Green Bay, Wisconsin. It's slippery, and there's
But
a
it's not
couple.
hard.
But yeah, I think it's a lot better, and they love it much worse as turf. So
Okay,
it's not
okay.
like you'd imagine your lawn or some open field would be in the middle of.
But still,
Philadelphia
20,
winter.
20 degrees and you're playing football with no sleeves.
I think they feel like they fumble more if they don't have,
But a fumble, you're an offensive lineman.
yeah, I don't understand that. Yeah,
It makes no sense. And it's purely to say I'm tough.
yeah. Well, they go and
You don't-
before
I
they
mean,
do.
I don't understand how. Are you a radio talk show host right now? Like you don't know that's the fact 100% of the time.
Of course it is. Why are you not wearing sleeves? They go to the hold on.
there
I'll
could
tell you
be
why. They go to the
mobility?
side. They go to no. Get out of here. They have like those Under Armour spandex type shirts you can wear that don't infringe on your mobility. They go to the sidelines and put on that giant coat.
Yeah.
And they sit on the warm benches, so they're cold.
Yeah,
It's a machismo thing, and it's
I don't know.
nonsense.
I think for running backs and receivers, I think there's an element of you can control the ball. But yeah, why linemen would do it, I don't know. But
It
now,
makes no sense.
I would definitely do it. I would do it. I'm always.
You would
cold.
go sleeveless.
No, I wear sleeves. I wear like Patagonia stuff.
I'd be out there in a
I wear
parka.
I wear
Yeah.
a puffy jacket.
I'd be
I
like
I get really cold.
I'd be like that 6-year-old kid in soccer that starts too early in the season wearing the jersey over the jacket.
Yes.
yeah, I wouldn't even show. I would walk out and walk right
freezing.
back in the locker room. That
It's
would be
freezing.
By the way, Josh, you know what? I can't believe you're like what's that guy? You're like Goliath right now.
Goliath?
I'm shocked by the hubris, I have to say. It's
What do you
very
mean?
interesting to me, David, isn't it?
What hubris?
About the Eagles and the NFC, like you're not afraid of
Being a
anybody.
bully.
Like,
Well,
that's just crazy.
Funny
Look,
thing
why
about,
is it crazy? Who's
Funny
your
thing
re-
about Goliath, you know how it turns out for him.
Yeah, I think you just cursed it, dude.
No, he won
They're
in the
not going to
first
make the
edition.
Super Bowl. You heard it here first. It's not going to happen.
Did you know that the David
We might
Goliath
not.
story is told incorrectly because it's usually the underdog is David, right? He's the one.
Yes.
But
Yes.
the thing is Goliath went into that fight with a sword fight, and David brought a gun. I mean, basically the slingshot was not just like some little toy. It was what they used back then. It was like very
I'm not
vicious
sure.
that he could throw from.
Wait, is he some kind of an expert on this story?
I am
there-
an expert.
Well,
in this
look,
story.
he's actually, you know what? I never thought about it, but he's right. Goliath didn't have a weapon.
Well, he has a sword and a shield. I mean,
He did have a sword?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, it was huge.
Then he's got the advantage over a slingshot.
Yeah, but listen, someone could come at me with a sword and a shield. If I got a
I've thought
gun,
about it many
I'll take my
times.
chances.
Goliath was like 20 feet tall.
I know.
David
but
was 5'6". I don't
listen,
think that little rock is going to hurt him.
you can do one of two things. You can read the account in the Bible, or Malcolm Gladwell wrote about this very thing called David and Goliath, where the whole point is that
Oh, right. Oh my God, I read this freaking book.
underdogs are actually
Ay,
not
ay,
as
ay.
underdog as you think.
Well, the
So-
sequel where Goliath returns.
It's also a story of ingenuity
son
as
of
much as
Goliath.
anything else.
son of
But which David would know nothing about. But let me posit this in another way. Do you think that Goliath Capital or Goliath? I love it. I like that for a name of a business.
It's not bad.
Well,
Except he
no,
lost.
It's
He
like
lost.
the
Why would you-
epitome
I
of
know.
of,
That's
yeah.
why it's so great.
of hubris and deceit.
That's why it's funny, Josh. That's called humor.
Yeah, but you don't want humor in the name that you're of a
Yes.
company that you're trying to sell
Embracing
a certain
failure.
brand.
Embracing failure. It's an
It-
interesting.
That's a
name.
great. That is a great. Why don't you have that as the motto? We're Goliath
That is on my
Capital. We manage
website.
your money.
Embracing
We
failure
embrace
is on
failure.
my website.
Yeah, right. We
You
go
think you're gonna
big.
get a lot of investors. We embrace
Yeah.
failure.
We go
Yes.
big and go home.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's right.
Because it's all based on mean reversion. It all reverts back,
That makes no sense.
Listen, the bottom line is Goliath
and yet
wasn't
it
trained
makes all
properly
the
for that
sense in the
fight.
world.
Goliath wasn't trained properly. I mean, he discounted his opponent. He was looking
Maybe
past
my
David.
next
who was-
puppy I'll name Goliath. I like that name.
Now, if you named a little tiny Chihuahua Goliath, that's hilarious.
That's
funny.
ironically funny. Yeah.
But not a investment firm.
No, I just think it's very funny. Wouldn't you meet with an investment firm if their name was Goliath? You'd be like,
No.
because you want to know, meet the guys.
Yeah.
No.
It's funny.
No. Yeah. You don't. I think that's a bad idea.
You guys
Bad
never
idea.
factor in sense of humor when you make your investments. That's why
Yes,
Yeah,
that's
I never
correct.
understand.
And that's
Right.
not one of the checkpoints.
it's
It
not.
usually
Yeah,
ranks really high in many things, but
Their
investment
performance is
due
good.
diligence-
They're a fantastic shop. They make a ton of money, but they're very dry and their humor is pretty shitty.
Wait,
so-
hold on. You
we'll
guys
pass.
have never made a decision based on like someone's
picking a manager
personality.
because they're funny.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think, although I think the opposite. There have been some where I've been walked away. I suppose if they were like, not funny, but sort of dry or really cruel, or there could be some personality turnoffs.
Yeah,
where I'm like,
personality turnoffs, but there's no personality turn on where you go, I don't give a shit about these people. They're just really cool to be around. So I'm
Yeah,
gonna put
right.
money
How
with
about
them.
BO?
No.
How about BO?
Ooh, that's a good one.
Ooh.
Because that could be
Like
temporary. That could
consistent
have been
BO.
consistent BO.
That's a
bad-
problem.
Yeah,
That's a problem.
that's a bad sign.
It's a problem.
It's
You
kind
gotta
of like,
wanna- yeah,
you
you
see a
gotta not wanna-
Moneyball when the
Yeah.
scout says, "Don't draft that quarterback. He's got an ugly girlfriend." They go, "Why?" And they say, "Well, that shows he's got bad self-esteem." So,
Well, that's remember the Curb Your Enthusiasm. When Larry David was not going to invest with or not choose that, and I think it was an attorney because his wife was hideous. So he makes horrible choices. Like, this guy has no
yeah, it's really
got no
similar. Yeah.
taste.
Yeah, I don't think I would publicly say that I would do that in a investment decision. So
No.
I'll say no to that.
Yeah, I'd pass on that one.
Well, hey, let's kick off the podcast here. First, let me go through some housekeeping.
Yes.
First, so you understand what's happening is we're a podcast where the three of us come together and bring up topics that we've not discussed before, and we go ahead and discuss it. Hopefully in a funny way, but if not, Josh is quick to edit out all the unfunny parts. So
Yeah, and then people can believe that based on our last episode where Omar clearly brought up a topic that was just absolutely horrendous, and so you can see we don't prep and we don't practice prior. So
it's proof. It's proof.
that's proof.
Before
Yeah,
you,
I actually wanted to publicly apologize.
That's a good idea. I
It's
think
been
I
on
think
my mind.
the listeners deserve that.
Yeah. No, they do deserve it, but I was more so about you guys. I didn't
Yeah.
phone it in.
Oh, that's
last week.
nice.
I just thought it would be a better topic than it was.
It's just bad judgment. It's all
We
right.
all can't be winners.
Yeah.
just
Bad
piling on. I'm not a part of this piling on. I'm willing to. It is what it was, and we're moving
Let's
on.
move on.
Move on.
Flush it and move on.
All right. So first, I think I mentioned our email
I get
address
to the
last
plate.
week.
I swing hard every time.
No,
No?
you tried to squeeze bunt with nobody on base.
And sometimes you pop it up to the pitcher.
Yeah, that's right.
That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Anyway, so our email address. This might be why we didn't get as many emails as we normally do.
You didn't give
so
the email address last week. I was about to tell you that, David. I'm like, thank God, because people we would have got flooded with complaints.
Yeah, I didn't have the time.
Flooded.
That's it was on purpose, but
Yeah.
I'll give it this week. It's friends@fts.media. There's no .com, no .org, no anything else. Just friends@fts.media. Feel free to email and respond to stuff we talked about. Ask us about things you'd like us to talk about. And that's that. I do have just an announcement. I some interesting news before we kick off is
We have two interesting news today.
We do?
Yes.
All right.
Right.
I don't know either one
David,
of
go.
these.
Continue.
you want me to go first? Well, I was told that the guy from Sister Wives now is down to one wife.
Yes, one wife. Yes.
So
it's
I have
amazing.
not watched this show, but I've been
Oh,
alerted to the
Jesus
fact
Christ.
that
the best
This is
show
breaking
ever.
News.
Best show
so
ever.
now is he a polygamist? If he
Yes.
is he a former polygamist? Like what? How do you handle that when you're now
Yeah,
only
it's a
one
good-
wife?
It's a good question. Now, is he no longer polygamous now that he's basically had 3 divorces, quote unquote divorces, and now down to one marriage?
Right.
I don't know. It's a
Do you
really
think?
good question.
Do you think if they took an IQ contest,
Yeah.
of people who watch these types of shows
Yeah,
versus
Mhm.
people who watch lots of anime?
Hmm.
Okay, what do you think? Who would have? Because I watch, I can't believe you guys watch these shows.
I can't believe you watch anime.
And I'm like, well, I wonder, like, I mean, the dumbest people in the world must watch this stuff. This is like the Jay
Yeah.
Leno audience.
Can I tell you
That's an
something?
easy question though.
Omar,
I'm asking you relatively. Listen,
gonna tell
I
you.
watch anime. So what
I'm
do you
going to
think?
tell you
Yeah,
because
yeah.
I had the privilege a few years ago of having dinner with Nikki Haley. You know who Nikki Haley is?
Yeah.
Okay, so she was at the time she was the ambassador to the UN, I think, and in the Trump administration. And then she's a pretty well respected person.
Yeah.
And I had dinner with her. It was like a table of 10, and I don't want to talk about shop and things like that. So I actually brought up 90 Day Fiance, and she watches 90 Day Fiance.
Hmm.
So if that just goes to show you how far these shows reach, it's not just degenerates and idiots on their couch
And
eating bonbons.
investment professionals.
Yes, and investment professionals like myself. But that's a huge. You'd be surprised how many people watch these
Yeah,
types
it's
of shows.
wildly
Nikki
popular.
Haley watches 90 Day Fiance.
Did you
But
ask
to
her if
answer
she
the-
watched, Did you ask her if she watched anime? Did you ask her
I
that?
did not. I did not ask her if she watches anime.
Maybe she
Yeah.
maybe she loves Death Note too. You know. Who knows?
Good. She's possible. It's possible.
The IQ of an anime crowd is much higher than junk reality TV. I watch
I disagree with that.
reality TV probably more than I watch anime. But no, the nerds watch anime and they're a lot smarter than everybody else. So
That's
Meek
true.
shall
That's a
inherit
good
the
point.
earth.
That's a really good point. I take
So,
that credit.
I don't think that's
a
even
strong
close.
argument. That's a
So-
strong argument.
so Omar, do you have news too?
Yes, some of the listeners maybe know this, but I put together this brilliant sardonic holiday card, which we like in a New Yorker style cartoon. I had a graphic artist draw it up for me, and we had a caption contest, and there was 108 participants who actually
Wow.
responded, which is a really high response
It's a
rate.
lot.
And the winning and it was for what Gary Gensler would be saying at the dais. And
Dais.
and this what?
Deus.
Why do you have to ruin this moment for me?
I want to make sure people know that he's not at a Deus.
Josh won. Josh won it. He
Very
won it,
good.
Dave.
I did.
By the
win it.
way, that's no one who's listening to this podcast is going to understand
No.
what the cartoon just
No,
Gary Gensler at a day.
Oh, should we edit it
Yes.
out?
we're gonna edit all
no,
this out.
no, but
It's all gone.
the point is out of 108 people, Josh.
Yeah,
is
Josh, you
clearly
did.
a,
Let's boil it down to what it was.
Josh has got a gift of putting.
Yeah, Josh won out of 108 people. I mean, it's nuts.
Yeah.
You're
You
a
know what the
talent.
odds of that are? A
It-
little under 1%.
No,
It's
they're actually less.
uncalculable.
You know what? They're actually less than that. You want to know why?
Why is that?
Because I didn't want my relationship with you to have an impact on you winning.
Wow.
It's a
Yeah.
higher bar.
Yeah.
Hmm.
How
Yeah.
about that?
Yeah, well, because I was going to say, boy, what are the chances that Omar put on a contest to pick Josh to win?
And I won.
Wow. All right, well, let's kick things off.
Yes.
Let's do, Josh, you said you're pumped with your topic, so let's go with you first.
Yeah, I don't know if the word is pumped, but I definitely had something that really just dug into me quite a bit this last week. So I don't know if you guys watched the Golden Globes. Did you watch the Golden Globes at all?
I saw some highlights.
Okay, so this is not something I would normally watch, but there was nothing on. My wife and I are sitting there. We're just paging through, and I'm like, oh, let's just see who the host is, because sometimes they have like funny hosts, and they'll do something very funny in the beginning, and then I don't give a shit who wins any of these awards. And Gerard Carmichael was the host. He's a
Yep.
he's a comic, and it was all right. He was a little awkward, but whatever. I think this.
Omar, you're kissing your dog is coming
Yeah,
through the
that's what
mic.
we're hearing.
Oh,
Everyone's
sorry.
hearing those.
Well, what would you rank it 1 to 10 in terms of being a host? A 6?
Yeah, I think the moment got to him. I think it was a little big for him. I mean, he's an up and comer, but he is funny. I always thought he was a funny comic, but he had a couple things that were good, but his pace was real slow and whatever.
Nobody
like-
does good at that.
Yeah, it's
Everyone is
hard. It's a hard
critically
gig.
slammed when they do the Oscars or the Golden Globes, right?
That's
a
hard
thankless
gig.
job is to host those things.
That's right. Although we did talk about
Ricky Gervais
Ricky
was
Gervais
the greatest
was
host.
awesome at it.
Ricky
Yeah, but he
Gervais
kept
was
offending
the
people.
best
That's
of
what-
all time.
Yeah,
Of all
that's
time.
true.
That's right. So, I mean, Carmichael was fine, but I turned it on. I'm like, oh, it's on. And I thought I'll just watch Gerard Carmichael. But what ended up happening was we kept watching it. And we just kept watching the damn show until something else was on that we wanted to watch. But this is, as I'm watching it, I just got more and more angry at watching the Golden Globes. And tell me if you guys have the same type of feelings and emotions when you watch this. You know, it's these people that win the awards, they're just actors. That's what they are. They're actors. They play pretend. They go on camera and they pretend to be somebody else. It's really not a big deal. It's really not anything major. And yet they talk and they get up there and they win this award as if they just split the atom. Like they just cured cancer. There was a guy, and I wrote this down. This is what he said when he got up there. And I quote, "The magnitude of the moment is not lost on me." Now, do you know what he won for? He won for Best Supporting Actor in a Sitcom. The magnitude of the moment of Best Supporting Actor in a 30-minute comedy show. Are you insane? This drove me nuts. And you know, I've never seen the Nobel Prize Awards, which they do. I think they do televise them. I'm not sure if they do or not, but whatever. I can't imagine that the speeches of people who actually have done something that actually affects society positively are as self-aggrandizing as these jackasses who keep winning these acting awards. It's absurd. So that's my thing. I just kept getting angrier and angrier. And then when they start thanking people that nobody knows who the hell they are, when they just start naming names, I just get like, why? You know you're on TV. Why? I know you have to thank people, but thank them later. Send them a card or
I heard
something.
a really good idea along this is what you do is you give a speech and then you roll like credits on the
Great
side of the
idea.
people that you want to thank, and they just scroll up and you can do like a personalized message. But then you can, you got 2 seconds to kind of say your quick thing. I like that idea.
I
That's a
would
great
push
idea.
back on this, Josh.
Go ahead, please push back.
Because I think that everything about everything about all these award shows is what's plays best on TV to get ratings, to get.
Yeah, but these award shows are not big ratings grabbers. They used to be a long time ago.
Well, it's relative. Everything's relative, right?
Yeah.
My point is, they think this is their best way to do it is to continue the tradition of a lot of these pomp. What is it?
Pomp and circumstance.
Pomp and circumstance.
Yeah.
But we've been to award things like in our industry.
We have, but here's the
how
difference.
would you compare those speeches?
I'm glad you brought that up. So the difference is at least there's something measurable. There's performance. There's sometimes you're right, but there's actually something measurable. Acting is so subjective. And who's to say who's a better actor than somebody else? I mean, it's.
Oh, I see what you mean.
The award, there's a
right, but
do is you take a group of people, you call them the committee, and then they vote, and that's how
they
you figure it
vote.
out.
But that's my point, though. It's still subjective. it's
Well,
it's still opinion. There's still no way to quantify
You
it.
know
Oh,
what?
so-
Actually, I have an interesting. I mentioned the caption thing that Josh won. Of the 108 responses, like 100 of them were, not necessarily that good. In other words, none of those people should ever try and be writers. My point
That's
is,
probably
there's
true.
not that much talent out there.
Yeah.
So I think that opening it up to there
Hold
are probably
on.
some creatives who could have actually who do have. Well, hold on. Did you hear anyone talk that you actually did like? Is anyone's speech?
I do have actually. I saw
Yes.
a clip, so I do. Go ahead. I have
Okay.
one that I think is actually meaningful.
So there was a guy who won, okay, a short Asian guy,
Yes.
and
Do
he
you know
goes
who-
up.
do you
Oh,
know
hold
who
on.
that
Yeah,
was?
yeah.
Yep.
Well, that's what I'm about to say.
Yep.
So he goes up there and he starts talking, and I go to my wife. I'm like, that voice is so familiar. I'm like, this is unbelievable. And he starts talking, and then he reveals who he is. He's Short Round from Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom.
Oh,
Do you remember Short Round?
Yes.
I love that character. This guy hasn't had a gig since he was 13 years old, and
Yeah.
now he's won at 50 or whatever, however the whole.
Yeah, he had a complete. He thought. He was a kid actor and had nothing in between.
Amazing.
But then he wins because that movie, Everything Everywhere All at Once, which is one of my second favorite movie in
I
2022.
never
by the
saw
I
way.
have to watch that movie. Why am I?
It's-
I'm gonna watch it today.
It was up for everything. It was. But listen, yeah, it was great that Short Round was recognized, but who gives a shit? I mean, did he really? Was he really the best? Do you ever see? There was David Spade does a bit, and it's a hilarious bit, where he talks about. He's like, listen, when he got his first acting gig, he's like, he was all nervous, whatever. Then he realized acting's not a big deal. You're just playing make believe.
Yeah.
And he goes,
Well, his roles.
Yes.
well, yes, that's true. But he said, like, here's proof. He goes, take Jennifer Hudson. Jennifer Hudson, her whole life has been training for singing. She's a singer. That's all she's done her whole life. She enters a contest and places 8th. She then has her very first acting gig, never acted before in her life, wins an Oscar. That's how hard it is. It's not hard.
Well, let me ask
it's not
you
hard.
this.
It's
So
just
you
not
would
hard.
say
I'm sorry.
something objective is fair, like if the Eagles win the Super Bowl, like that's measurable. They won a
that's
game, right?
measurable.
Well, what about the MVP? That's subjective.
It is, but again, there's numbers to go along to back up an MVP. They had this many touchdowns, this
But
many
someone's got to
receptions,
decide
this many
who's
yards.
to say which one is the most valuable player. As
You're
somebody
right.
else.
And
There's definitely a level of subjectiveness, but it's not even close to what we're talking about here.
But
with
hold
these
on. But
stupid
also,
awards.
but listen, one data point does not make a trend or something. I'm sure there's other Jennifer Hudson stories, but there's also other ones. Most other people who are successful, that does not happen to them that way. She was able to do it because of where we are in terms of films and
Omar,
living blending together and whatever else. And
my point is, acting is not difficult. We're praising people who are just playing make believe, and every kid in the world plays. Look, there's some bad actors. Nicolas Cage and Daryl Hannah are shitty actors, but they're good
What?
enough.
no, he's
Whoa,
no,
whoa,
they're not.
whoa. Yeah,
they're
I-
pretty
they're
bad
not.
actors.
Nicolas Cage, I think, is
Come
You
on.
think Nicolas Cage is a good
Come on.
actor?
Yes.
what
No.
he does
No.
is very unique. No one could do what
Wild
he does.
Orchid.
I never saw it.
Yeah. If you're in Loathing Las Vegas or
Never
whatever,
saw it.
Leaving Las Vegas.
Leaving Las
Never saw
Vegas.
it. Never saw
Yeah.
it.
He's the alcoholic. I mean, that's like one of the greatest.
National
do it.
Treasure.
I could
National
do
Treasure.
No
it.
one
National
can do
Treasure.
what he
was
does in
he was
National
pretty
Treasure.
bad. He was pretty bad.
That's the point.
How about
Finding-
Daryl Hannah? Daryl Hannah's pretty shitty. You got to admit that.
Splash.
She was horrible.
Wall Street?
No.
She's terrible. She's a
And
horrible actress.
Yeah, I don't. She doesn't. Well, whatever she
Not
did in Wall
good.
Street was fine.
But she's good enough. Is my whole point.
I
Those
disagree
movies are
that
good movies,
acting-
and it doesn't matter.
I disagree that acting isn't hard.
Hannah.
Really?
Yeah, I think it's
Great.
extremely hard. Have you ever tried it?
Listen, there are people who are better actors than others. Don't get me wrong. There's
We're in an industry of paid actors. There are a lot of actors in our industry.
Well, that's a different type of acting. But don't get me wrong. I understand there's a spectrum. There's definitely a spectrum of talent with acting. All I'm saying is, really, anyone can do it. Anyone can do it.
Well,
Look at Lifetime. Watch one of those stupid movies
Which
on
one of
Lifetime.
us would be the best actor, you think?
Oh, me for
For-
sure. I can
No.
make myself cry in demand. I've been doing that ever since I've been little. My wife won't agree with
You
it, but
cry on demand. That doesn't
That's
make
pretty
you-
impressive.
That,
I
yeah,
can't
it's
do that.
impressive, but it doesn't
Oh.
make you the best actor.
well, it's just one.
That's pretty good. I think that's pretty
I'm not a
good.
one-sided.
All I can see you playing is a suburban dad who lives in the Midwest. That's like.
Oh, I
the
think
only
he'd
role.
nail that part. I think
I
he'd
think
nail
he
it.
would nail it.
Yeah.
I
he would
win an
nail
award
that
for
part.
that. Yeah. No, I got a huge range. I could be a happy dad, sad dad. I could be.
Could be a
A
dad
huge
with
amount of
indigestion.
Listen, I watched a show. This was also a very good show, by the way. Have you heard of Fleischman in Trouble? It's on
I've
Hulu.
not
No.
watched it yet.
No,
it
what
worth
is that?
watching?
What is
It's
it?
worth watching. It's very deep, Josh. It's not up your thing.
Yeah.
It's
I saw
very
one bad
introspective.
review, so I'm like, I'm not gonna watch it.
Is Matt
No.
Damon in it?
So I
Matt Damon.
like deep stuff. I like to emote.
Well, yes. Well, then you'll like this. Claire Danes is in this movie, and
She's
she
all right.
has basically panic attacks and mental breakdowns.
That's
this
her thing.
woman.
What is this a sequel to
Homeland.
Homeland?
No, yeah.
That's-
That
does
was
she
her
do the lip-
character in
Does she do
Homeland.
the lip quiver? The
It would be-
famous lip quiver?
Well, then maybe you know how she acts. Then I mean,
Yes.
this woman can look like she is in distress, like no
Yes.
other. Imagine
Yes.
doing that in front of action and just doing
Yeah.
I could do it. Give me a
Well,
week to prep. I'd be fine.
I would say I can do it too. I'm just saying.
I don't
Oh,
know.
she
I
can
all
do
of a
it
sudden
really
we
well.
both can act.
You two knuckleheads could do it.
If you look at her, there's no way you can say what that is.
She's
easy.
she's a very, very nice person in real time.
Well,
Like-
that I don't know.
She lives in Soho in New York.
Well,
Ah,
listen,
and you've met her?
Mhm.
No, all right.
so
Well,
if
there
you met
go.
a famous actor, actress, you would like those people.
No. Don't get me wrong. I'm kind of simplifying it. I definitely have a level of respect for good actors. I like Matt Damon. I like watching Matt Damon. I like those. But I like movies. I really don't give a shit too much about the actors themselves. Like, people go, "Ooh, I got to watch the new Brad Pitt movie." I don't give a shit that he's in it per se. I just want to know what the movie's about. See
Yeah.
what I'm saying? I don't care. The actor itself doesn't draw me to a movie. The movie draws me to the movie. And if the actors are in it, fine, so be it. If not, I don't give a shit.
I don't know if there's some actresses. I guess are we supposed to say actors, whether they're male or female?
I think
now?
everyone's an actor now.
Yeah. So okay, just to get that straight. If Leo DiCaprio's in a movie, I'll want to see that.
Really?
Like, there's a-
Regardless of
yes,
the movie?
there's
No.
a few-
I'm not
He
like
has
that
a
at all.
really strong. He has a very high hit rate. He's like him and Denzel have like really high hit rates. With
Well,
movies
him,
that are-
Denzel, Corey Feldman, those are the top three, I think.
That's right. Kevin Bacon.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's.
I
No,
don't
I-
like Kevin Bacon.
There's no single actor at all where I'd go, I'm watching it regardless of what they're in. Never. Not one.
Not one.
Not one. I don't care. I want to see what the movie's about. Then I'll watch it. You can actually tell me the movie and not even tell me the actors, and then I'll tell you if I want to watch the movie. I don't even care who the actors are.
Yeah. What I don't do, some people are like, I want to follow that director. I don't do that either. I mean, I
No.
think like Spielberg is a director that I've probably seen the most of
Yeah,
his
he's
work.
awesome.
But
Yeah.
and I just saw one of his latest, but if it's something I'm not interested in, I would probably pass on it. Scorsese or something. They're usually it's because the movie is interesting, but I don't like
Right.
necessarily follow the director either.
There's directors I'll stay away from, like Tim
yeah,
Burton.
like
I don't. Tim
I
Burton's
can't
weird.
stand Tim
don't
Burton,
like him.
right.
Don't
I
get
don't
it.
like it either.
Yeah. So like, if I
Right.
hear it's a Tim Burton film, I'll be
Wait,
like,
did he,
no,
did, he,
thank you.
did he do Coraline?
I think
Probably.
so.
I like
He ruined
Coraline
Batman.
very
I
much.
mean,
He ruined Batman. That's right. And
Right.
he
Oh,
did.
that was the one with Michael Keaton.
Actually,
Right.
I like that one, but it would have been better with somebody else.
Is that
For
the one?
sure.
Is that the one where Prince played the Batman song?
Yeah, it's a
Yes.
Prince song.
That's a
Prince is
great
not in
song.
it. Yeah, it's a great song.
No, actually, Christopher Nolan actually is a director. Everything
I
Christopher
agree.
Nolan's doing,
Tenet was a
I would
little too
watch.
much for me.
But director, okay, so directors are way different than actors.
All right,
Directors,
so you think those awards are fair?
yeah, I don't think that's easy to do at all. So I
Okay.
think that is truly a skill set that it should be recognized.
Hmm.
Because that's the basis of how good the movie is.
Omar, what do you think? I disagree with this. I think actors.
Wow.
I don't know if I want to watch the awards show necessarily.
No.
I'm curious to see which wins best actor, actor, and movie.
Do you
but,
care who wins? I mean,
I'm curious what it
Yeah,
is.
I don't
If there's a movie that wins of the year, and I haven't seen it yet, I'll probably watch it because I want to.
Josh, I agree with you, David. I think
Wow,
I think that she is a Jay-Z kind of person. Like, for people to be able to access all those emotions. I haven't seen what type of roles Jennifer Hudgens played.
I think she won for Dreamgirls, which was her very first role.
Okay, wasn't she
It's not-
singing in
a
that?
singer.
But
Probably, but what's the
yeah.
difference?
well, wait a second.
Well, she didn't just sing.
Yeah.
She had
Yeah,
acting
I wish
lines.
yeah.
She had lines.
But
What's
she
the
probably
difference? It's a huge part of but even with that in mind, like maybe she had access to the range that was required in that role because of her own, strength of access to her right part of her brain or whatever.
All I'm
But,
saying is you could take Meredith Baxter Burney and Joanna Kearns and put them in movies now, and they'd be just fine, rather than Julia Roberts.
So you're saying like people that are bad actors, and there's lots of them up.
There are
that they're basically
good enough.
People.
They're good enough.
No, I don't think that's true at all. You're watching too much reality TV. Like those are like by definition
exactly,
bad actors.
I think.
Like the worse the better. So you get Meryl Streep up there. You're like, what? Who cares? But
no, I'm not
can't
saying
get anyone to do Meryl Streep.
There's definitely a range. I admitted to that. There's definitely a spectrum. It's not like every actor is the exact same. What I'm just saying is that it's just not that. I don't revere it. I don't think it's that difficult to be an actor. Is what I'm saying.
Well, I think there's a fair argument to make that we elevate actors too high. We want to hear what they think politically, and we obsess over them. But I will say, I probably told the story before, when I was at a Laker game and I walked right by Leo DiCaprio, and my breath, it took my breath away. I was blown away.
It's exciting
by
to
the
see a
fame.
celebrity.
Yeah,
of course, but that's different. That's way different. Way different.
Having him in a room is the worst thing that happens to any party or any club. The minute he walks into a club or a room, the entire room changes and everybody's just staring at him. He destroys events.
That's the same with Carrot Top.
I've seen it happen like a number of times.
You've seen it happen a number of times?
Fuck, Leo's here. Everyone's like always looking at his table. It's so annoying. He must be annoying for him too. It must suck for it to be him.
I'm sure he hates his life.
Yeah,
is that the only person?
It's terrible. He's on a yacht right now with supermodels.
Who else is that true that you've run into?
There's no one like him.
Yeah.
Really?
I was gonna say if Tom Cruise walked in, but he probably wouldn't walk in a club.
He wouldn't. I've never. No. Yeah. Tom Cruise is my guy. Yeah.
That dude.
That'd be the same thing though.
Now that guy owes an award. The trailer for the next Mission Impossible is showing him taking a motorcycle off a ramp and then falling in, have a parachute go off.
Is he doing that now?
Yes, he is the one that is doing it.
All right, that's pretty impressive.
The trailer is showing him doing it.
He's like the Mick Jagger. He's like the LeBron James.
Yeah.
They're maintaining this level of like into their, what I mean? It's nuts.
He's gonna die.
What LeBron James is doing is like equally as nuts.
Yeah.
Also, I think that like it also shows you a little bit how NBA defenses are a lot easier.
Okay, what a transition that is, but that's not the point. The point is he has as a quantifiable. You can tell how good a night he had. That's no one's going to deny that. It's very difficult. Acting is so subjective. Yeah. I don't know. I just thought it's just so it's such a conceited event. It's just such an event of just you just want to vomit in your mouth when you're watching any of these award shows. Yeah, that's how I felt.
Yeah, anyway. I agree with the award shows. I do think, look, they give awards to everything. Might as well give it to actors and movies and stuff like that. It's such a big part of our lives, right? What do we do in our free time? We watch shows,
question.
Watch movies.
No question.
Do you think that you would have a good, retort or whatever acceptance speech if you won an award, Josh? Like, would you prepare?
Because it was be short and sweet, and I'd get off the damn stage.
Who would
no
you
one
thank?
wants to
Who
hear.
would you thank?
You don't thank anybody. This is going back to my point.
You're not gonna thank your wife.
You thank them
Frank.
afterwards on your own time. You say something clever, so it's entertaining to the people that are watching it, like you do with this on the screen.
Speeches like this, because it sounds. I feel like I've seen people.
You know who did
this approach?
Jennifer Coolidge did a good job. I don't know if you like Jennifer Coolidge or not.
Of course, I love her. She's
yeah,
amazing.
But she was really funny. She was very funny, and she didn't do the typical nonsense that everyone else does. No one gives a shit about your publicist or your agent or no one gives a shit about any of those people. Have some self-awareness.
Does that mean that because then why can't an edict put out that you cannot give any thank yous at these
I think they try. I think they try to you got 2 minutes, you got whatever. They
try that all the time. They say whatever the hell they want. And then they play the music, and the one woman told the musician to shut the hell up. She was going to beat her up, which I thought actually was kind of funny. But, that's it's nonsense. These people are so self-important. They're so self-important.
Well,
they think what they do is like so. That was my point of this. The way they talk when they get up there, it's not like, hey, I won an award for acting. Hey, thanks so much. I'm glad you enjoyed my stuff. That would be a normal response.
Right.
This is, the moment is so the gravity of this moment is so deep. No, it's not. It's not.
That's not their fault, though. We've elevated these people so high. I don't
True,
think they can
true.
understand,
Ugh,
what the world
There's-
is around them.
there is no awareness of how important you are. You're not that important. You're just not.
I seen Josh win an award, and he
You have. Yes, you
thanked
have.
a guy named Frank, who was all it was
I
a
did.
joke, and he walks off. So I have
One-
seen you.
One sentence.
Yeah,
That's what I did. I did
Right.
one sentence because no one wants to hear from me unless it's clever and entertaining. No one wants to hear from you. That's what I did. One sentence. Boom. Funny.
You
walk
know,
off.
you guys know I've like sang at like 50 weddings,
Yes, we're aware.
right?
I think you told us.
Sometimes
Yeah.
they're not
Yes, you've
necessarily
told
home
us
runs.
several times.
Yeah.
Anyway. All right,
Well-
that's my topic.
What was the point of the singing at the weddings?
Yeah, he just wanted to say it. That he,
No, is that like I'm talking in front of a lot of people for longer than 2 minutes? But actually, when I do, yeah, it's generally around 2 to 3 minutes. But people get bored very quickly.
Look, there's a huge difference here. People give you the mic at weddings, or people give anyone the mic at weddings to be entertaining for the crowd, not to.
Oh yeah.
There's a huge difference. Know your audience. Your audience is not the people in actually physically in the audience when you win an award at these stupid shows. Your audience is the people on TV you're watching. They don't give a shit about your publicist. Say something clever, say something funny, and then get off the stage.
Yeah.
Now
Be
that
funny,
can
be
be
short.
something about your publicist.
Fine. I don't give a shit
But if it's funny-
what it's about.
Yeah.
If it's funny and entertaining and I go,
Yeah.
haha, that was good.
Yeah.
Great.
Be
But
funny, be short, be gone.
Yeah.
That's
Correct. I
that's
love that. 3
yeah.
B's.
The 3 B's of acceptance speeches.
Wait,
love
what was
it.
it again?
Love it.
Be funny, be what?
Be short or
Yeah,
be
be-
curt.
Curt.
Be gone.
And be gone is the best one.
All right.
right.
Well,
We
I don't know
agree.
if I'm with you on that one, Josh. Omar, this is now your turn.
Oh
your
God, this is
big
a lot of
redemption-
pressure now. You're coming off.
Yeah.
No, but
you
I do-
struck out looking last.
I do. I do think that Josh's thing is, if you just had an edict, you can no longer thank anyone. That's a solution to that, which I think could work.
It
I would
helps.
make it better.
Like Dave said, Dave's idea was great. You either scroll it in the bottom of the screen or you scroll it while they're talking. This is who so and so wants to thank, and then they can read their own names.
All right,
That
all right,
was
all
really
right.
nice. All right,
And then
let's
it's good that
So
they
do
don't
you
forget
guys-
anyone either.
So
Yeah,
my,
that's
so-
right,
so-
that's right.
So my topic. So this quote. I'll start with a quote. I think I may have mentioned it even last week. Reality is an acquired taste.
Yes, we've heard that quote from you.
Yeah. So Matthew Perry. And so, do you guys?
a
Are
great
there
philosopher.
things? Are there things for you guys that you're unaware of or unable to acknowledge about your own reality, right? But that you hear often enough from other people to be like, you want to know what? Maybe I am really this kind of person, or maybe I am good at this. That you actually don't think you're really that good at.
Give me an
or-
example so I know what the hell you're talking about.
Well, so the example is, I was at I had a dinner the other night.
Wait, is this
And-
about you?
Yeah. Yeah.
See what
What,
I did?
what do you mean? What
I
do you mean
cut
is
out
it
the
about
fat.
me?
I cut out the fat and I went right to the heart of it. It's you want to tell us someone thinks something about you. See what I
And-
did there?
Is it positive?
We could have taken the scenic route. And I said, no, we're not taking the scenic route. We're not getting off at this exit. We're going to keep going until we
No.
reach our destination.
But this is the thing. I don't even want to say it now because
have
you
to.
just cut my heart out.
But you walked
Cut
into
my
it
heart
yourself.
out.
You walked into it yourself.
Man, oh man.
Yeah. Go ahead. What
So-
is it? What does someone think about you that's so amazing that you never thought about yourself? Come on.
Someone think you're funnier than you think you are.
Get it out.
Is that-
Get it out.
I can't say it.
You have to
Jesus.
now.
So okay, so I'm having dinner with my friend. He's talking about this who's married, and his name is
Don't say his name.
okay, and he says this long story about this guy, and then about he's talking about his other mate, and then or his other friend, and he goes and he looks at me, he goes, he like you is a really good looking guy. So and I'm like, what did you say to me? I'm like,
I
he
knew
like
it.
me?
I knew
I'm
it.
like,
I
I'm
knew this was where it was
Right.
going.
It was
I mean,
either
it's like-
funny, yeah, good looking,
I've seen
Smart.
this movie 1,000
I,
times.
the point is, the
Amazing.
point was not me. That was the core of
No.
the story.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I get
But-
it. Your friend Babar. Yeah.
No.
Or your friend the White Rabbit said this. I get it.
It was Miles.
And so go ahead. You're going to say like you didn't think you were good looking, even though you've said how good looking you are on this
No.
very podcast
No.
several times.
No.
Go ahead.
What I'm saying is that so reality is an acquired taste, and like because of whatever reasons, like I don't at all view myself that way. So I'm saying to you guys,
Yes,
do you
you
guys
do.
have? Do you
Yes,
guys
you
have? I do
do.
not. I do
Yes,
not.
you do.
Do you think I do? Do you think I'm? It's just
You
I'll let
talk about, hold on. In the history of this podcast, Dave, has he not repeatedly talked about, number one, how young he looks for his age? Yes or no? Okay.
Correct.
Has,
Yes.
has he not talked about how luscious and full his hair is?
Oh, yes. Yes.
Thank
many
you.
times.
Okay. Now I defer back to you.
many times. Really?
If many means more than 12, then yes. We have
You're
30,
very
30
proud of your
30
hair.
37 episodes. I'd say you have a 30% hit rate.
And we
Wow.
actually we have evidence of all this.
Not-
It's on
it's documented.
podcast. Yeah.
It's documented.
We can actually go back to the tape and show it to you.
Can we put that on the blockchain? No, I'm asking you guys, are there things for you that because of whatever that you don't think that you're good at acknowledging about yourselves? That was the question. That was the essence.
I know the question, but it's hilarious that that's the question. It's just hilarious
Yeah. That
because
Saw that
of
coming.
where you wanted to take this vehicle.
David,
we've
do you feel
arrived.
that
We've
Josh
arrived.
Has it out? Do you feel that Josh has it out for me?
No.
I feel like it's a circular thing. You have it out for me.
No, that's
I criticize Josh. Josh criticizes you.
Yeah, that's
it's just
fair.
it's a nice cycle that we have.
just
I
like-
just like saying that.
yeah.
Has it out for me.
It's a
That's an
it's a,
interesting question though. Like if someone were to say, if you're whatever, and let's keep it to the
Yeah.
positive,
yeah.
or let's do both. If it positive, I generally think like, I don't think they've ever been surprised. Like, yeah, I am thoughtful. Or whatever it might be. Like I think, yeah, in the universe of people, I think I'm on the higher end of thoughtful. So I don't think there'd be a lot of things I'd be surprised with. That is said to me regularly. Now, if it was a negative thing, I think I'm
Right.
surprised all the time. Like I'd
Yeah,
be like,
yeah.
you
Can I
really
say
cut
one
people
thing
off.
though, just to sort of augment this whole thing, is that I think one of the most common qualities that we share with our other friends that we actually are like authentically like close to and whatever is we all have a strong dose of humility, right? About like a lot of things. I'm not. This isn't about what I said in the beginning. This isn't about me being good looking. This is very different.
Says the guy whose topic is my friend
No.
thinks I'm ridiculously handsome.
I didn't say it, but so wait, let me get this out. And when I say it, you're gonna be like, you know what, you're right. So the humility thing is a real thing, right? It can be about a variety of things, that whether David being thoughtful or Josh being, someone that you can rely upon, whatever. So pick your characteristic. But my point is that because of the humility, you don't really acknowledge that about yourself as being great at anything, because that otherwise you're pumping yourself up and whatever else. And I think there's a strong overlap between humility and insecurity. So it's important that you're able to be aware of things that you are good at. And David, I think you are incredibly thoughtful, like most of the time,
Really, I never
like to a fault.
actually-
I think
actually,
you're thoughtful to a fault.
to a fault.
You're
Yeah,
very
that's probably-
empathic.
To a fault.
All right, too much so. Yeah. I would argue you can be humble and not have low self-esteem. Like humility is
That's
a very,
true. That's
very
true.
good quality to have, and it can be a sign of very strong self-esteem if you be
I'm
humble.
not saying self-esteem. I said having insecurity.
Yeah, I think I
mean,
don't
everybody
think
has
those two
Insecurity and
things-
self-esteem kind of go hand in hand.
insecure. But he was saying if you're humble, usually are insecure. I think those are actually not. Those are separate circles. You were saying that they overlap a lot. Maybe it does, and maybe it's
Yeah, it
if
does.
it's not humble, then it's
inferiority, or is part of it often.
but a humble person who is secure, that's a great person. That's something you would strive to be.
Yeah.
Because then people can, then people are.
Do you guys think you know
confident.
someone who's like that?
I'm like that.
Oh, I'm the most humblest of all. I'm amazingly
Yeah,
humble.
I knocked out the charts.
No one beats me in humbleness.
Right,
I'm top
And I
of
am-
the charts in humbleness.
and I'm not insecure either.
You should. You know what? There should be awards for that instead of like
Oh
top
yeah,
whatever.
that'd be a great award show.
Yeah.
My favorite award I ever created was Time Burglar of the Year.
Time burglar. That's a
I
good
gave
one.
that to an investor because they waste so much time and they never
Oh my-
do anything.
Yeah, it's
and they
great.
just talk and talk.
That's
The
funny.
vacuum, the actual award was a tiny vacuum cleaner.
That's funny.
That actually worked.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's very, very funny.
Well, have you had someone say something to you that you thought on a negative side that you thought, wow, I should re-examine myself here, and that's
Good
That's a
question.
good one.
Yeah, it's a real good question.
because it's a good friend that's able to do that in a way that's not soul crushing, right? It's
Yeah,
someone
that's
who's
right.
honest with
That's
you,
right.
like you need
Yep.
to like hear this, and it's rare that someone will do that too. That's my wife will do that.
Yeah,
often.
my wife will do that to me. Yeah. Yep.
Omar, do you
Omar?
have anyone in your life?
I actually
Taking a deep
just
breath
thought of
there.
some. I just thought of one because I asked a friend of mine for critical feedback about because he's been involved with a lot of conversations I've been in, and he gave me some. And so is that the same thing?
Keep going.
We'll see. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he said that I tended to overpromise and underdeliver.
Mm.
Well,
Overpromise.
He didn't say I'm being silly. No, he said I would talk about these ideas that would then change and morph from once I'd say this thing today, and then a few weeks later it'd go from 8 people to 12 people, or from this city to that city, or the concept changes.
I've been accused of that. Yeah,
and
definitely.
so my credibility may not be that great sometimes.
Oh, interesting.
And,
Right.
and my response to him was I told him to go fuck himself, and I hung up. No, I did not do that. I did not do that. I said I gave him my perspective because for me, I think part of the process that's fun is that having it sort of evolve as I'm talking to my friends about the idea.
Yeah.
So, and he's like, "Oh, that makes sense," and then I hung up on him.
That hits close to home. I had someone tell me like, you always come up with these big ideas, and then like a month later, you're on like another big idea.
Another one.
right?
Yeah.
Or like you start something and then you want to change it. I'm like, yes, exactly. That's not a bad thing. Like it's if you're like, this is it, we're done, we're not thinking about it anymore. Who does that? But for some people, that constant change drives them nuts. And so I have definitely been accused of that. But I actually think that can be a very positive thing. But yeah, I suppose it could drive some people crazy too. Omar, you're probably like that a lot. Big idea pops in your head, like you're out there, you're talking about it, and then the next moment you're like, no, I'm on something else.
I'm still doing my kids line, by the way. Elves. That's going to happen.
What the hell are you talking about?
What's that?
Elves. It's the greatest.
elves?
What is every parent's nightmare? You don't want to have an elf, right? An entitled little fuck as a kid, right? And so I'm
there's
creating
worse nightmares
brand.
than that, but yeah, that's one of them.
I'm creating a brand around elves. Like, don't be an elf, but it'll be kids wear.
Oh.
You're gonna put that on your kid? Entitled little fuck?
Of course. It shows to people that I'm not a sellout parent. I'm not like getting the minivan. I'm the dangerous parent.
Oh God.
You made it sound like it's something you've talked to us before.
Yeah,
I've never heard
that idea, and I'm gonna have to squash it right now because it's a.
Oh my God! I talked to a patent attorney already. Yeah,
First of all, you didn't talk to a patent attorney. You talked to a copyright.
What happened to the
There's
Bow
no
Wow leash company?
Yeah. What happened to that?
The Bow Wire.
This elf's idea is a much bigger idea.
It's a horrible idea.
Like, don't be an elf.
Yeah,
And
I
the
get
kids
it.
would be like, "Mommy, Daddy."
And now you have to explain to your kid what an elf is.
No. That's the thing. They're not in on the joke, but they like the elf things because they're little, like, cute little elves.
But they want to be elves. Kids want to be elves.
I think you could make a fast buck with some T-shirts on this thing. Like
you could sell it at Spencer's.
I think the way society's going, it would work.
Really?
Yeah, dude. This is counterculture, bro. It's like Timothy Leary on steroids.
Yeah, counterculture is one thing. Counterculture involving your children is a different thing. You're making children's products with counterculture.
But the parents, it's about the parents, how they want to identify.
I get it, but they're not going to slap entitled little fuck on their kid's back.
No, it's not going to say those words.
I know it's not going to say it, but it doesn't matter if it doesn't say it.
I would, as a parent,
is.
I see my people put their kids in AC/DC shirts.
Yes, AC/DC is a band that they like. That is
and like Metallica.
Yeah, that's so different.
You know what I mean?
Do they put their kids in WAP shirts, WAP shirts? With Cardi B?
Have like I'm sure they have stuff like that.
I don't think so. I don't think there's any WAP onesies. I don't think Cardi B's selling a whole lot of those.
Josh,
that's a market for it.
But that's why the opportunity exists.
Is it?
Yes.
Or is it that it's unsellable?
No, we don't know. We're gonna find out.
Yeah,
We're gonna
we
find
will
out.
find out. Oh
Yep.
my God.
If it's
It's
a high end brand,
listen.
it's something that could work.
It's amazing. Just be thankful you're this good looking. All right. Because these ideas, I mean, these ideas coming out of an ugly face are just
David,
Yeah,
they're not
David,
even,
that much worse.
Was that a real topic to bring up or not, David?
it was a good
I
topic.
think there. Yeah, it's actually if we could explore it. This is something late night kind of conversation.
You redeemed yourself.
Or a
You redeemed
podcast? Like,
Well,
what
we,
the fuck?
yes, but
What?
not over a 10
What did
We're
he
right
just
now.
say?
We're right now.
we need longer hours to dig deep into the
Amazing.
things that you aren't that maybe you're not aware of. Interesting topic, but yeah, let me do mine because
Yeah, do yours.
So something happened to me this week that I wanted to give your guys' opinion. It's somewhat
Nice.
related to all this. I won't give the circumstance, but somebody came up and told us a story that happened to them over the
Us
last-
meaning who?
me and a group of people, a group of
Okay.
friends. So
Okay.
it's a friend circle.
Yep.
I got a story I got to tell you. So here's the story. And then as the story is being told, I'm thinking this story is being embellished. And so
Was it obvious, or you had thoughts that?
well,
maybe this is-
I don't know for sure,
Yeah.
but my sense is, my meter for embellishment, is quick on the trigger, right? It's
Yeah.
if I hear something, I'm like, that seems weird. My first instinct is embellishment, and then it goes to, I don't think this happened.
Yeah.
But I think my most common phrase in my head is, I don't think this is true.
like the one person we all know in the gorilla
yes,
story.
I
in the
wasn't going to
elevator?
tell that story. Yes, I
Yes.
was going to
Ooh.
tell it.
Yes. Yes.
Because who knows where that
Yeah.
could all go. But so I wanted to say to you, but then I thought, I embellish stories.
Everyone
we all embellish
does.
stories.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So some of it is, to be a more effective story, but at what point is embellishing like just too far? And
Great
how do
question.
you regulate that an embellishment of a story?
That's
what do you think?
easy. That's easy. When it becomes a lie, when it's simply not true.
Well, it's
You can-
all kind of a lie, right?
No, you can embellish. You can embellish your feelings, how you felt at that particular time. You can embellish.
Well,
Like
what,
this-
is that a bad thing though?
It depends. It depends. Like embellishing as far as like you could be like, oh my God, these 50 guys jumped me and I beat them all
Right.
up, and that's very different if it's 2 guys.
Right.
That's a flat out lie, and that's very pertinent and critical to the story itself.
Yeah.
But when you say like, these 2 guys jumped me and they were like 6'4" and they were only like 6'2", okay, whatever.
Right.
See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
There's little embellishment that helps paint a picture of like, oh, I was really scared, or these guys look like they were going to overtake me, versus just flat out lying with an embellishment.
Yeah.
So there's very
I embellish
levels.
all the time.
yes,
Like,
even
all
that
the
was
time. I've like,
except for that sentence, that wasn't an embellishment
yeah,
because you do embellish all the time.
yeah, I do embellish all the time. I have like these. Some of them are like all 100% true stories, like my Jay-Z
Yeah.
Beyonce story. That one's true. But like other ones, I've completely like embellished so sometimes a lot.
Like when your friend told you you're good looking, is that
Yeah,
No,
was-
that one's true.
the
That one's
real
true.
story is my friend talked to me.
yeah.
That was it.
Can I tell you a story I embellished? A pretty big one. Or maybe
Yeah.
I shouldn't
Yes.
say.
Yeah.
Is it
I
bad?
should say it. So, I can't.
Was there any that you did? In the,
You
how about
know how a podcast works?
I
What-
know, but it's too much of a big one.
Josh,
Alright,
your
don't do
your
it.
colonoscopy story? Was there any
Yes.
embellishment there
No.
in
no.
hindsight? Like
No.
there's never.
So there might be embellishment as far as like colorful language,
Yeah.
but everything that I said happened.
Well,
And it
and that-
happened where it happened, and it happened how it happened.
yeah.
Yeah, that
It-
all happened.
Okay, you want to know what? I'm gonna tell the story. So,
Go ahead.
you guys know? Remember, I bartended in this restaurant bar in London called the Chiltern Firehouse.
Okay.
Okay.
Yep.
And I created a drink there, and they called it the Pakistani Clooney.
Right.
Okay.
Okay.
This is a true story.
Are you telling the story as an embellishment right now, or this is all
No.
factual?
This
Okay.
part is true.
Yes.
This
Keep
part,
going.
we're literally talking about adding it to the menu.
Yes.
Okay. So anyway, my point is, like, that summer I met from friends, and we were in Ibiza. I'm not gonna call it Ibiza. I hate people who call it Ibiza.
Yeah.
And
Was
this
it the Pakistani Rosemary Clooney?
is yeah, yeah. So listen, so that was right when George Clooney and Randy Gerber were launching that new tequila brand.
Okay.
That they later sold for like $1 billion or $4 billion, whatever it's called, Dos Caminos.
See, that was an
right?
embellishment. 4 billion. Keep going.
It was a big number.
But that's an okay embellishment, is what my point.
But this is when it first, yeah, and you're right. But this is when it first launched. Okay, so they had a launch party at the Ushuaia Hotel in Ibiza, not Ibiza. Okay, and he's married to my cousin's friend, whatever her name is.
Who's
Amal.
he? Oh, that's your cousin's friend, Amal? Yeah. Okay. The
They
lawyer.
went to school together at Oxford and blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
So I'd met her before, but this is before she knew George Clooney. I did not go to the that party because, but my best friend went, Brett and Alana.
But you tell people you went?
Not only did I tell them I went to the party, I told them that I talked to Amal. I told them that I then talked to George, and I made up this whole story.
Why would you
around
make
it.
that up?
Because it's funny. Because it's funny.
Right, but it's
the story is funny.
See, that is a George Santos embellishment. That is not an embellishment. That is a lie. That is a flat out lie.
But
There's
it's
a huge
funny.
difference.
And
You know,
Brett,
we do
Brett,
that. I
Brett
think we all.
told me that's like one of the biggest ones maybe ever. But like Brett told me to do this in general about these. Everyone, one time we would tell people when we be in St. Bart's that we owned a yacht. And we told every girl that we saw,
But
like, come on our yacht tomorrow.
Okay,
like,
but that's
oh really?
not,
We'd
that's,
love to do that. And
that's
we
not
never really had a yacht.
Right, but that's different. That's you're playing around and you're being funny, whatever.
Yeah, that's true. That's
telling a story to people like us, who are your friends, who are actually trust you and go, oh wow, that really happened.
Yeah,
that's a huge difference between it happened and it didn't happen at all.
Listen, if you put a gun to my head, I would tell you everything. But mostly, that's a pretty big one.
Is that how we
really
have to have
funny.
discussions now? I got to bring a piece
at the end of it. Yeah. Now tell me what's true.
Yeah, right.
Look,
exactly.
there's other things. That's probably the biggest one. But like all the other stories are true. I don't know why I added that second. I like the whole Pakistani Clooney thing. Give me another reason to talk about it. Probably.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah, see, this is what you do. This is your stories. It's funny because if you don't know Omar, you think, wow, the real meat of that story that he just told is he knows George Clooney and Amal Clooney. Unbelievable. And in Omar's head, it's the meat of the story is I was able to crowbar in that they think I'm the Pakistani Clooney in London at this bar. That's what all he was trying to crowbar in.
But a lot of the
rest
stories
is
are
all
true. Like the other things are true for the record. But you want to know what? Every so often, it's got to test you.
Well, what do you do when you hear someone tell a story that you think is embellished? Have you? Because I sort of shut down. I don't say like if it's a good friend, I'll be like,
if it's a good friend, you call him on it. But I had a good friend of mine in college, and I'm not going to say who it was, but he told tales so many times that every one of us, it became an ongoing joke.
Yeah.
To the point where there was no credibility.
Right.
But like, there's no way this is true. He told a story about him being kidnapped, with his sister, and then he rolled out of the moving car. He kicked open the door this is not true. This is just not true.
Yeah.
This has happened to me numerous times with people, and I look at my friends as this guy's talking. This one guy said one guy who said he threw somebody over a balcony at a deck party, and the person dropped 20 feet.
Oh my God!
I'm like, did you? And then he changed topics. I'm like, wait, did you go to jail for that? Did that person survive?
Right.
He goes, yeah. They had broken legs, but they were fine.
Right.
I'm like, well, but why? How did you throw them? Wait, were you put in jail? He goes, well, I knew that the cops knew my family. I'm like, what is this? Like I don't understand.
Yeah, this
is
Wild West. So I keep on asking him more and more questions.
This is a sickness, and this was.
And everything he had an answer to. I'm like, how did you? Was this guy a midget? Like, how do you throw? Because the guy wasn't a big dude. I'm like, how do you throw somebody over like a balcony ledge? This guy's not a big guy.
It's a sickness. It's definitely a sickness. The guy I knew in college, it was a sickness because he kept telling them. And we were like, I never called him out on it because I'm like, it's embarrassing and, with other people. But we always talked about it behind his back. Do you believe what he just told us? I mean, this is ridiculous. I don't think I've ever told a story that was just
was
an
it
outright
like
lie.
in an Andy
I've never
Kaufman
done that
way ever, or was it more
no,
like
no.
He wanted you to
He
believe
wanted
that
you to
was
think
truth,
he
right?
was
Yeah.
his life was just ridiculous and he could do whatever he wanted and blah 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 and all these amazing things happened to him and it just wasn't true.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a bigger problem.
Yes, it's an illness.
My
Yeah.
things are fine. I mean, that thing is tiny. Who cares?
With that, you show up at a party you didn't show up to. That's a.
I could have got in if I wanted to, if I really gave Brett a hard
Yeah,
time.
sure. Yeah, sure.
And then that scene probably would have happened.
You can't tell stories about what could have happened.
Yeah, that's more than embellishment to like completely
It's a
fabricate
lie.
a whole
lie.
situation.
Yes.
Embellishment is.
Hey, listen, if I'm open about that, then imagine what I'm not open about.
Yeah.
Wait,
Well, it ruins it for everybody
actually,
else.
wait. I didn't want it to come out that way.
Yeah, that did not play well.
But it ruins it for everyone else because then when I hear a story like wow, that's amazing. I'm now
Right.
all the time I'm saying like I don't believe it. I don't believe it.
Yeah, but it's the source, Dave. You know, the difference is if you know the source,
yeah.
it's easier to determine whether or not this is bullshit or actually real.
Right. Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. If it's someone who like nothing ever interesting happens and out of the blue they told a story, I guess I'd be like, yeah, I'd tend to believe it. But
or they have a history of unbelievable. You can't listen. People can have unbelievable things happen to them. It's happened. I've had a couple things where I'm like, wow, this is unbelievable.
All right, nothing else I've told you guys has been like tall tales.
Well, how can we tell now? We don't know now.
yeah, everything
is
is
whatever you want.
Well, that's not going to work. I'm going to put you up to a machine, one of those.
No, he gave you permission to bring a gun.
I'm gonna get thrown to a van when I walk in.
Yeah, that's right. Everyone can have something crazy happen to them. To happen to them 85 times is just not believable.
That's true.
Yeah, no, that's true.
Unless you're in the CIA.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
no, that's true.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't. It's sort of. I guess on the one hand, I was thinking like, yeah, you know what? I'd rather be entertained by a story that's enhanced a little bit. Like, what difference does it make? And then on the other hand, I think I constantly am like going into every conversation thinking, nope.
Yeah.
And I don't like that either. That's so
Yeah.
I don't want to be that person. I just want to just live and let live. Like, yeah, you want to tell that story? It's all good.
I agree. I'm with you. And to go back to your original point, I think entertainment embellishment is fine.
Correct.
Factual embellishment is a lie.
Correct. But they could sometimes be the same thing.
Yeah, I was gonna say you made that sound like those were two very distinct things.
Yeah.
Entertainment.
Well, they can be the
embellishment,
same. No, you know what I mean. Like, you just emphasize something it's not pertinent to the story. It's not important to the actual outcome or things.
Yeah. I think that's right. So because I think I certainly do, but it's like, I was sick. I think I had 105-degree fever and it might have been 99. But,
Right.
You say it's
fine.
it's within the realm of right.
Yeah, that's right.
So.
Exactly.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, we'll have to put a
Do
embellishment.
you think that we would be good business partners, the three of us?
I think so. I think
Yes.
we got a different. Although we have.
I gotta tell you, I've done one team thing before with Josh, and it was not a pleasant experience.
What?
Well,
What did we do?
We're neither three of us are doers, right? We're
I'm a
all
doer.
big picture. You're a doer. Yeah, we need somebody who's like an executor. Like I think we'd be.
What do you think I do for a living?
Not sure.
Well, that's a good question. I don't know. That's a whole nother episode.
But I think I like Josh though because he constantly like needles and the buck never stops with him.
Listen, let me tell you something. I get things done. My daughter right now she's doing some volunteer work at her school, and she's got this things she's got to get done for this giant event, right? That's coming up. It's like in a month. And I'm like, she talks to me about it, and I try to help her out. I'm like, you really should be doing this and that and that. This will be great for fundraising. And the more I talk about it, the more I so badly in my blood just want to do it.
Yeah.
I just want to say to her, hey, put me on your committee. And now they're all the committees, college kids, or people at her school. But I'm like, hey, put me on your. I want to do some of this that I'm talking about because I'm getting excited about it now, and I think there's a good way to implement it. And I get overzealous, and to the point where she's like, Dad, I don't have time to do this. I'm gonna have to leave that alone. And I'm like, I just do it for her, but I don't do it. I send it to her. I'm like, here you go. It's already done. Here you go. Run with this because this potentially could be.
Can you do that for me?
No, I'm not gonna do that for you.
Well, how would you do it in your real job?
I did.
That would be awesome. I was like, man, we could really use someone like that.
Well done. Well played. Well played.
Hey guys, listen, I got to run. I've got an
Yes.
appointment here in a few minutes. So this is a fun podcast. So, Omar, I think you've redeemed yourself.
You
We're
have.
all
You have.
very brave to share an embellishment story. Very, very proud of you.
That was fun.
I like
All
it.
right.
I don't. By the way, I do not feel cleansed. So that's all bullshit.
We got next week to continue the cleansing. So hopefully we'll be back next week. I will be in Florida, but we should be able to connect next week, and hopefully
it out.
something big, whether it's embellished or not, will happen to me, and hopefully to the rest of you too. So until that time, we'll see you later, everybody.
See ya.
Bye.
Good to
Smell
smell
you
you.
later.